What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 10 best brawlers in Brawl Stars right now during Season 23. I know it's only a few weeks until the update and Brawl Talk, so it might get outdated in a few weeks' time, but this is just at least a good recap and to really see, especially after the nerfs to Maisie and Larry and Laurie, who are the best 10 brawlers in this final bit of the meta. So, to begin with, at number 10, we have Stu. So Stu always is a top 20, top 15 brawler. I think since some other brawlers kind of went down after some nerfs, you know, like Maisie, Rosa, etc., Stu has got a lot more oomph in him. He's a great counter to brawlers like Leon, for example, because Leon just runs through everyone. So Stu is just a great counter to him. And also, of course, it's Stu. You can go him literally everywhere. Go him in Brawl, Gem Grab, Hot Zone, he's insane in, and even Heist to counter some other brawlers. So you can always rely on a Stu. So as the 9th best brawler in the game right now, I went with Cordus. But before we talk about Cordus, just quickly some brawlers that missed out on the top 10. First one being Piper. Piper is such a strong brawler in the meta right now. She actually counters some of the aggressive brawlers as well with a knockback. You know, for example, Edgar. You can't jump onto a Piper, she'll just destroy you. Next, Colette as well. Colette is always that brawler which people underappreciate, but a good Colette player, especially against some of the top brawlers in the meta, like Pearl, for example. She's a great counter to, and she can pop off easily in Gem Grab, Hot Zone, Heist. And then we have Buster and Sandy as well. So, talking about Cordus then, he's always been a top 10 brawler since his introduction into the game. In previous meta, probably overrated him just a little bit, but I still thought it was top 5. Top 10 is pretty sound for him because, again, he's a great shutdown to a lot of those hypercharged brawlers. And not only that, he's just a good brawler against everything. He hardly has any tough matchups, even in the Shadow Realm. There's only like a handful of brawlers that can really do anything against him. He's got his jump gadget, which can be really good against certain brawlers and just to waste opponents' ammo. For me, he's always going to be a top tier brawler until he gets a bigger nerf. Next up is the 8th best brawler in the game right now. I went with Bo. So I did predict with the nerfs that he'd fall off a lot, but I just think Bo is just in a great spot right now because he counters so many of the meta brawlers. Not only that, of course, you can literally go Bo in every single scenario. If you're unsure on who to go, Bo is always a good option. He is overpicked a little bit too much in Power League, but again, there are a lot of good matchups for Bo. You take a look at the top brawlers in the meta, like Charlie, like Pearl, for example. He's a great counter to those brawlers. Spike, good counter to it. Amber, good counter. Literally all the brawlers right here, you can easily pick a Bo, and of course, you've just got to hit your shots. The great thing about him, he still does a good amount of damage. It was still buffed from what it was before a couple of months ago, and again, he's just insanely versatile. You can never go wrong with Bo. Next up is the 7th best brawler in the game right now. We have Spike. So again, another brawler that's probably overpicked a bit too much in Power League, but it still goes without saying that Spike is super versatile and just deals so much damage. He's like Supercell's golden child, right? Because Spike, I could never foresee him getting nerfs, even though he's so strong right now with his hypercharge, just the pure damage he can put out. He counters some top meta brawlers as well, and you can take a look at literally all of the game modes outside of Knockout and Bounty. Spike is always the go-to pick. You can never really go too wrong with picking him. And for me, he definitely needs a bit of a nerf because he just deals such insane damage in this meta. Now moving on to the 6th best brawler in the game right now, it is Amber. So Amber, personally, I would put Amber a little bit higher because she's just so annoying to face off against. But ever since she got a damage buff to both her Dancing Flames gadget and just main attack damage, it's just made her unstoppable. You can literally play Amber everywhere. I've even seen her used in Bounty and Knockout as well. She's super versatile, and the main reason why she's strong, right, is because that damage buff was over 10%, which is crazy. You lock onto someone, they're just dead pretty much instantly. Even tanks, she just absolutely rips through. And then you've got the buff to Dancing Flames. And the reason why it's so good is because Amber's biggest weakness is, of course, tanks or any brawler that can get close to Amber because she hasn't got any type of knockback. But with Dancing Flames, literally after a couple of seconds, half their HP is probably going to be gone. 4,400 damage with 2 flames is crazy. And of course, the best thing about her as well, in Power League, she's super versatile, right? She has 8 gears to choose from. She has, well, Wild Flames is the only good star power, and then 2 good gadgets. If you're playing on a map with a lot of walls or up against tanks, you go Dancing Flames, and then on an open map, you go Fire Starters just to literally run at people and destroy them. So for me, Amber, she's just so crazy strong right now and definitely needs a nerf. So now moving on to the best 5 brawlers in the game right now. Starting off at number 5 with Fang. So if this was a ladder-only tier list, then Fang would probably be at the top, and especially for the majority of the player base as well, Fang would be literally at the top. But this is more competitive, so there are some counters to Fang, which we'll dive into later on in the list, but still, it's Fang, right? If you don't have a direct counter to Fang, he will just delete you. even if after like a minute 30 into the game and Fang's done nothing, it doesn't matter because he'll eventually get his purple button and he'll just be zooming across the map and he'll eventually get that team wipe. It's just crazy to me how strong he is. He needs multiple nerfs because it's just broken. 5v5, 3v3, just Fangs everywhere, every single map, every single mode. You can always get value out of his brawler. So Supercell, please nerf him. I'm moving on to the 4th best brawler in the game right now. I went with Pearl. So Pearl is crazy strong and competitive right now. The go-to pick in pretty much every single scenario. The main reason being she's super versatile, but it's just the killing power. You go into knockout and bounty, you fully heat up, which is just so easy. You pop your overcooked gadget and you're pretty much 1-2 shot every single brawler in the game. She deals insane amounts of damage. Also combined with the heat shield star power, after 80% of your heat bar, you get a 20% shield on top of the 8,400 HP that you already have, which is just crazy. It's just so hard to kill a Pearl if she's fully heated up, because if you get within range of her, she'll just absolutely delete you. Of course, she's got a hypercharge on top of that, which isn't the strongest super wise, but she still gets the stat buffs, which is just still insane. Imagine the extra 20% damage on top of a fully heated up Pearl. You just stand no chance. And of course, again, super versatile. There's hardly any counters to her. She's always the go-to pick in competitive. Next up is the 3rd best brawler in the game right now. I went with Leon. So unless you're living under a rock, you should know by now that Leon is easily one of the best brawlers inside of the game. Whenever Leon's meta, he's good in every single game mode, every single map, and hardly has any weaknesses. But of course, the most broken thing about him by far is because he's got that hypercharge. So you take a look at his hypercharge. At first, I thought it weren't too flashy. It was pretty cool. But when you combine multiple things together, so, you know, essentially when you pop a Leon invis right, the biggest drawback to him is that you lose your super when you shoot. Of course it is. This hypercharge fixes that problem. You keep your invis and also you heal up at the same time using invisi heal. It's just absolutely insane. And the biggest problem with it, in my opinion, has to be the stat buffs. You get 20% speed and 25% extra damage and shield as well. Like, you're unstoppable once you pop that hypercharge, and it's the fact that you can cycle it so quickly. So for me, Leon's easily one of the best brawlers in the game. So now moving into the 2nd best brawler in the game right now, we have a Charlie. So you might be surprised by that one, but trust me, Charlie is back in the meta with a bang. Of course, with 4 nerfs, you'll probably think, well, Charlie is pretty much dead. But still, she's one of the best brawlers in the game easily right now. So there's multiple reasons to this. Reason number 1 is because of the Spider's gadget. It still allows her to tank so much, especially against those sharpshooters. Of course, it's the same with Tara, but Charlie just has insane range. So typically, knockout and bouncy, you may think, well, you know, Piper, Nanny should be able to outrange a Charlie, which they can, but they'll have to shoot down the 4 Spider's gadgets that you have. So she's really good in knockout and bounty, and of course, she's a big counter to all of the tanks in the game, all of the assassins. So Fang is a big one, or just anything that wants to be up and personal in your face. You've got Spider to protect you, and then you've got your super. You've of course got hypercharge as well, which isn't the best, but you still get a 30% speed boost and 30% damage boost. And of course, the most broken thing about Charlie is the fact that you've just got the best super in the game. Every single time you connect with super, it's a free kill pretty much every single time. And also, it's just so easy to hit. You can literally snipe someone across the map with it. You're hardly ever going to waste your super. It's so powerful, and Charlie is easily the best brawler, or one of the best in the game. And finally, moving into the best brawler in the game right now, even after 4 big nerfs, it is Larry and Lori. So for me, I still think they're comfortably the best brawler in the game. They're nowhere near as broken as before. We're not getting triple Larry and Lori's anymore at high trophies, but they still are really hard to counter, and they just deal an insane amount of damage. So they did nerf star power really heavily. I don't even think it's that good of a star power right now, but the big problem with Larry and Lori is just the pure damage. We definitely need a damage nerf, because in every single scenario, they'll just be absolutely insane. Again, they're super versatile. They're a thrower, right? So they're going to be usable in a lot of scenarios, and still, the robots, both of them still have a lot of HP. And the big problem as well, which people don't talk about, is the fact that they kind of feel like what Grom was like on release. The fact that Grom could just shoot on the ground instantly and deal damage was crazy. So maybe we'll see a slight rework in the future with Larry and Lori, so they're not just insane even at close range as a thrower. I don't know. They need multiple more nerfs, because it's still the best brawler in the game quite easily right now. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Just a brief recap. Again, it's going to be outdated in a few weeks' time, but you guys have still been asking me a lot in my streams, because of course the balance changes hit a couple of weeks ago. So that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.